Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to LIfeSource Coaches.
We are Sue and Dave Robson, and we are so glad you're here with us today.
For sure, you're part of what seems to be a growing community of courageous, compassionate, confident people that are overcoming fear and anxiety in the midst of COVID.
Yeah. And so we invite you to participate as we always do, but maybe even consider hosting a watch party. We had a friend who jumped in yesterday and hosted a watch party by accident, and she said she had all kinds of people jump in that might not have otherwise.
Share in the comment section how these tips are helping you. And a couple days ago we started out with tip number 1, acknowledging and accepting that we are emotional creatures and it's okay to feel fear and anxiety. And tip number 2, we talked about pressing in to those emotions. And then today we're going to talk about pressing in to the accompanying beliefs. And that's tip number 3, pushing into the accompanying beliefs that come alongside of these emotions.
And we're going to help you develop some mindsets and moods that will move you forward and propel you forward. We're going to be using a similar outline really to what we used yesterday when we talked about emotions. Kind of the 3 points of I just went blank on that one.
Discern,
Discerning,
diffuse, and decide. So those are our 3 aspects of pushing in: to discern, diffuse, and decide. So we're going to start out with this aspect of discerning what's going on in our minds, in our thoughts, in the midst of heightened emotions.
Right. So we believe that emotion is this is kind of over catastrophic, or any number of statements like that. But when we start to kind of go, well, what might you be believing? Well, I might lose my job. The next question is important that we continue to ask. So if you lose your job, what then? And we keep pushing deeper to kind of identify core beliefs. So if I lose my job, then I won't be able to pay my mortgage or my rent. Okay, if that happens, what then? Well, then I'll have to move out. We'll either be living in our car or have to move in with my mom and dad. Okay, if that were true, what then? And so we keep on going down to kind of those core places until we've got some root, oftentimes lies. It's kind of that worst case scenario that we oftentimes really live out of without recognizing it. It's much more on a subconscious level, and that's what causes the anxiety, that low level or sometimes a high level of stress.
And there's a place in our culture right now. There's wisdom in saying, okay, what might be a worst case scenario? What is going to be our greatest need? But if we dwell on that and we allow that to be our belief and our driving energy of that emotion, then it's unhelpful and even unhealthy to continue to stay there.
Right. There's a study that Dallard Willard quotes, and even John Eldridge in a post we're going to share with you later in the comments section, where they took rats at UCLA and they put them in an environment, and they wanted to find out what was the level that they would be able to tolerate that they shot them up with drugs, basically.
Oxycontin study. And so they had a control group and a study group, and the study group was subjected to increasing doses of Oxycontin until they got to this place of frenzy and fear and overload.
Right, and eventually death. And so they studied these mice. They were able to identify what the level of that they would be able to tolerate. But they also had a control group. And what they found was not only were the mice that were injected with the drugs, did they die?
But when they were put into the groups together, the mice who weren't subjected to the drugs took on the dominant emotion of the drug-laden group and came to the place of holding the same kind of fear and anxiety and panic that they were actually dying at almost the same rate as those that were drug-induced.
So with that, what we're trying to do is to say, how do we not partner with the frenzy, with the chaos, with the fear in the midst of this season?
Yeah, we can emotionally and mentally come to agreements with this unhelpful and unhealthy level of belief and behavior, that becomes our dominant, lends us a dominant mood and emotion that doesn't serve us well.
So once we're able to discern what it is we're believing, we're going to, again, use that same model. Discern, diffuse, decide. So we invite truth into that place.
This is diffusing.
Yes, we invite holding that belief. Well, I'm going to be homeless. And if I'm homeless, my family's going to leave me. So holding that, not pushing it down, not giving into that as actual truth. But what am I believing here in this place? And then inviting Jesus, inviting truth.
Yeah, if you're not a Christ follower, what is that aspect, that standard of truth, or that person of truth that we model our life after? And so for us as Christ followers, that's Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So we press into saying, God, would you just help us discern what is truth over this unhelpful or unhealthy belief?
And encountering it, visualizing it, picturing peace come into that place of those flowing anxious thoughts. So those are some tools to begin to diffuse. Ask for help in spiritual help from others to diffuse those lies.
From that point, we want to go into decide. We need to say, what am I going to set my mind on? What am I going to choose for a mood? Because the emotion happens in a moment, but I can choose to say, and I can imagine a preferred future. And so I want to set my mind on saying, what would it look like if I weren't fearful? I didn't choose to come into agreement with fear, to come into agreement with anxiety that's based in these extreme circumstances that are not probable, or even at times not even possible. Psychologists tell us that only about 5% of the things that we worry about ever come to fruition. Right. And so we want to have this mindset. We want to imagine. Talk about that a little bit, Sue.
Well, as we encounter, as we invite truth into those places of racing thoughts, we want to kind of say, what would it look like if I walked in peace today? What would I be doing? What would I be experiencing? And we want you to practice this even with your breathing, with your centering, with open hands. So I oftentimes just take deep breaths. And as I identify those beliefs, as I invite truth, as diffuse the anxiety, I say, what if I were walking in peace, in partnership with Jesus today? What would I be doing? How would I be being? And then I ask for help. And, I ask for help and support from my husband, from the people around me, the people I can call, but also spiritual help. That also is just really key. God, I need your help in partnering with peace today.
So you're seeing as we walk through this pushing in, it helps us emotionally, it helps us in our mindset, what we set our minds to, and it helps us to say, boy, how do I come into community with my spirit and the people around me? And so we would just thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully this is helpful. Put in the comment sections how you're applying this.
Tomorrow we're going to be talking about body and how do we embody with our presence these things. So today that's going to be part of our deciding, another tool to help you actually implement moving forward.
So that'll be tip number 4.
Yes.
In the meantime, if you need some help getting through this, Sue and I are available to, you can go online and look at our calendars and book some time. We are offering some discounts for some let's get through this together. And can help you personally walk through these things we're doing as a tip. Alongside of that, next Tuesday, April 7th at 10 a.m., we're going to have an event for 1 hour to help you do just that as well. As a group, we're going to walk through saying, how do I develop a presence of courage, compassion, confidence that overcomes fear and anxiety. So we'll be doing that in an event. Hope you'll join us for that. We'll put in the comments section how to register for that. And finally, Sue comes join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. as we look to embody these things that we've been learning.
So join us on LifeSourceCoaches.com. Dave will put a link towards our calendars if you're interested. We're offering a pretty significant discount if you want just a one-time session for new clients. So
thanks for joining us. You guys have a great day.
Have a good one.